What's up everyone, it's Scotty with MoneyVest. In this video, we are going to be talking about Tesla, NIO, Palantir, and SoFi. I've kind of redone my technical analysis charts from the previous videos. I've kind of removed a lot of the noise and I've made them more clean. So in this video, you will have a much better understanding. By the end of this video, you will have a greater understanding of where the support and resistance levels are for your favorite stocks that are Tesla, NIO, Palantir, and SoFi. And of course, we're going to break down very quickly some catalyst and of course some news pieces that came out in the recent days as well. So I hope you guys enjoy this. And of course, I know you guys enjoy these quick technical updates on these companies. So make sure that you drop a like. That's all I'm asking is to drop a like and of course, subscribe to the channel, and link to our Discord and Patreon is going to be down below if you're interested in joining. And of course, getting access to all the buy and sell alerts, options alerts, trade ideas, everything is going to be included, as well as a 16% annual discount that's available till the end of this month. And we'd love to have you on board with our MoneyVest community. So this right here is going to be on Tesla. So August 24th, we saw that on Twitter, Elon Musk driving in the Cybertruck that came out of, I believe, Giga, Texas. And on Thursday, August 24th, Tesla CEO Elon Musk shared a photo of himself driving the vehicle and stating on X, basically Twitter, he has drove the production candidate Cybertruck at Tesla Giga, Texas, which clocked in 29.7 million views, obviously. And of course, there's been other rumors that the company is on track to producing over 375,000 vehicles per year for the Cybertruck. Of course, the schedule has been pushed back several years, and now it's finally coming into fruition when it comes to Tesla. So going over to the Tesla stock price, of course, it's been a little bit more volatile over the last couple days. What we have really seen is a 29 to 30% sell-off from its recent highs of well over $298, close to $300 per share. So this right here is the entire sell-off. And that happened on the back of a lot of downgrades. That happened on the back of earnings, margin compression, a lot of fear, doubt around the stock, around the company based on competitors, and of course, price cuts, whatnot. And then we did see a little bit of a bounce back higher from that green rectangle. So that's the support, that's an area of demand for Tesla. So we did see some rally back up close to 13-14%. And right now we're just struggling at that resistance at 240. And that's exactly going to be, our resistance for us to watch. But moving forward for some other catalysts as well. So Tesla is very close to basically starting in India as well. So with Tesla push, India mulls import tax cut if EV makers build locally. So for the longest time, we know that India has been hot and cold with respect to electric vehicles, and of course Tesla in that regard as well, because if you are importing Tesla vehicles, it's going to cost you over 100% of the price of the car itself in import duty taxes. And that's a pretty significant number, right? That's obviously going to, not motivate people and buyers to buy Teslas if they are going to pay twice the amount compared to their US counterparts on all these import duty taxes. So what India said basically was to produce locally, manufacture locally, assemble within India so that you don't have to basically pay all these import duty taxes and you can create demand. But of course, Tesla's response, or Elon Musk really wants to validate the demand first before he puts all these resources, time, and money into building a manufacturing facility or an assembly plant or something that's going to assemble the cars within India. If there's no demand, there's no use of actually creating that. So that's been the back and forth here, but India is working on a new electric vehicle policy that would slash import taxes for automakers that commit to some local manufacturing. And that number is going to come down to as low as 15%. That's what they are kind of suggesting. That is going to be huge, for Indian market as well, which is obviously the third largest market when it comes to sales of electric vehicles, sales of cars in general. And the electric vehicles are still less than 2% of all car sales, but obviously are growing rapidly as well. So there's an understanding with Tesla's proposal and government showing interest. And the policy is being considered that could allow automakers to import fully built electric vehicles into India at a reduced tax as low as 15% compared to the current 100% that applies to cars which cost above $40,000 and 70% for the rest as well. So again, import duty tax is pretty high in India, and that is going to get lowered down to potentially 15%. That's going to be a huge win-win, not only for Indian economy, but of course for Tesla as well, because I can tell you there's a lot of demand for electric vehicles and Teslas in India. It's just not capitalized well. And I think Tesla can easily come in and disrupt that market because there's not a lot of competition, especially in India, which again is the third largest car market. Now going over to the technicals again here, resistance is going to stay put roughly around $240, $241. That's going to be in line with this previous support. So you'll notice that we kind of bounced off of that level and then we broke down and we got a little bit of reversal back up. So right now we're kind of struggling at that old support, acting as a resistance. Of course, if we do end up seeing a breakout back above that level, the next target is going to once again be this lower high. That's going to be within the context of the overall falling wedge pattern for Tesla. So this right here is the overall pattern. This is the lower high that I'm referring to. That's the white line, and of course the lower low for Tesla as well. So you can see that this has been a little bit of a falling, not really a wedge, it's been an expanding wedge for Tesla because we converged over here, and since then we've just been making lower highs and lower lows, and of course got rejected perfectly on July 16th, 17th. So that is going to be that resistance in case we break back above 240. We've got a very strong support here. That's the green rectangle sitting right there at around $225, $230. But of course, if there is going to be some accelerated sell-off in the NASDAQ or the S&P, if there's more potential downside, then I wouldn't be surprised for Tesla to basically break below $208, basically come down to sub 200. And that's when I will be looking at selling puts on Tesla once again with $150 strikes. So this right here is going to be my fair value and also my strike price on Tesla for the puts that I'm planning to sell. Now going over to NIO. NIO's also been a little bit back and forth here. Again, we talked about this entire overall downtrending channel where it's making lower highs and lower lows, so consistently struggling to basically change that overall trend, and it's still in that downtrend. And of course, we got up to this lower high, almost got up to this lower high, then got rejected, then started selling right back down, especially when you consider that we were incredibly overbought. So you can see the RSI at one point was trading as much as 83.5, and I remember doing videos on NIO, on Palantir, on SoFi, on a lot of these companies back a couple of weeks ago when we were talking about how this is not going to go on forever, right? At some point, the overbought conditions are going to flip back to the other side. There is going to be some profit takers. There is going to be some potential pullbacks and sell-offs and whatnot. And that's exactly what we are witnessing at the moment. NIO is also down 30-35% from its recent highs, and right now sitting on a very nice support and roughly at 1050s and 1060s. So this right here, basically going sideways, sitting at those levels at 1050, 1060. That's going to be the level to watch very, very closely for NIO in case we get a breakdown below this level, which again is not going to be surprising at all. The next support is going to be down to 950, where again, we have validated a couple times support from back in November 22, this right here, December 22, this right here back in more recently in June, July 2023. And this right here is going to be that next support in case we get a breakdown below that level. So next up on the list is going to be Palantir. Now, Palantir may soon be included in the S&P 500 as well, which I think is going to be a huge catalyst for the company long term. We know what happens to a company when it's included in the S&P 500. For the longest time, it's not really been seen as an institutional stock because it was not profitable, lots of share dilution, there was no vision, there was no path, and there was no marketing strategy for Palantir. But since then, a lot has changed, and of course, not to mention the boom in artificial intelligence is putting Palantir at the forefront of this technological advancement. Of course, they're revolutionizing technology with Foundry and Gotham and all the software that they provide is going to put them on the map for institutional investments as well. And of course, not to mention S&P 500 after they have achieved a very consistent track record of profitability. So support level is going to stay put at 1350. So this right here is going to be that level to watch. Very, very nice area of demand. However, I will point out the potential head and shoulders here. That's pretty obvious, as you can already see. Left shoulder, potential head, and a right shoulder forming. If you do see a potential move back higher and then curl back down, it is possible that we do get rejected here at 1685. $17 per share to make that right shoulder happen and eventually break down below 1355 to maybe come down to 1030s and 864. So those right there are going to be a couple of support levels to watch very, very closely for Palantir moving forward in case we get a breakdown below those levels, and that's going to be that next support. Resistance, as I've already mentioned, is going to stay put at 1689. If I actually extend this out a little bit further, you'll notice that this previous resistance is also potentially acting as a support. So all resistance acts as a support, as we know, once they are broken. Again, old resistance levels can also act as new support. Old support can act as a new resistance once these levels are broken. And right now, Palantir very much at a support at 1375. That's going to be the level to watch. Now, finally, talking about SoFi. SoFi actually reported some very good numbers, and ever since that gap up and the very strong rally, it's just been selling off from its highs of 1170. It's down about 30-31%. So selling right back down. Resistance is going to stay put at 864, and that's exactly where we are getting rejected at the moment for SoFi. That's going to be inside this red rectangle, and you'll notice that we have also gotten rejected at roughly $10. So that's been the previous resistance. We got incredibly overbought, got a little bit of a pullback, then pushed higher once again. So that was a negative divergence playing out for SoFi. So that's the higher high. So you can see that we obviously went higher after the earnings that we did before. And this right here is the lower high in the RSI sell. That's a negative divergence, which obviously led to the potential sellout that we're seeing of 30%. And the RSI MACD now very oversold. So support level is going to stay put at 781. So this right here is going to be that area of demand for SoFi. And a near-term resistance at 864, 865, all the way up to $10. But of course, if you do end up seeing a breakdown below this level, which is again not unlikely considering what we are witnessing with the overall market. Of course, we've got a lot of volatility in front of us with the Jackson Hole Economic Symposium, September meeting coming up for the Federal Reserve, and of course inflation data, everything else with interest rates as well. SoFi very much dependent on lending as well. If you do end up seeing a breakdown below $8, which again has acted as a very strong resistance 3 times, then of course it's possible that we trade back down to as low as sub $7 or even as low as sub $6 per share for SoFi. But right now it's kind of rounding up at that support, and RSI MACD also moderately showing signs of potential recovery back up to 865, maybe even $9 for SoFi. So those are going to be some levels to really be paying attention to for these 4 companies. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. What do you think about Tesla, NIO, Palantir, and SoFi? Again, if you enjoyed this video, found it helpful, make sure that you drop a like. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Link to our Discord and Patreon is going to be down below. We'd love to have you on board as a MoneyVest community member. 16% discount until the end of this month. As always, happy investing. I'll see you all in the next video.